letters. Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank you for letting me share this mission story with you. And as always, thank you for your always very generous support of this mission. And thanks to Pastor Joey for pointing out those facts about things, because sometimes I forget those. So thank you for doing that. That is not part of it. My apologies. Okay, there we go. So, as always, our van is packed full for our 12-hour drive to Biloxi, Mississippi. Every year, this is a good problem to have because that means we have plenty to give to those in need. There's barely enough room for myself and one passenger, as you can see, and it's probably not the safest way to drive down here, but we make it every year. And when we get there, we only unpack the top part. And we let the rest go until the morning. This is Trish Hutchison. She goes to the Methodist Church here in Batesville, and she is my dear friend that went with me this year. And here you see in the morning, when we open the van, things are falling out, and again, that is a good problem to have. It's full of nice warm clothes. So just like every year, we unload the entire van, put it in the middle of the tables there, and we have Sunday to unpack, separate, fold, and move it all into somewhere else before the other volunteers arrive that evening. And that's what we ended up with this year. Very impressive and very much needed. And so much we also had to go over to the other table as well. So again, good problems to have. Our Spice Girl from our church struck again, donating many needed items for the kitchen. This is a list of what we brought with us. I'm not going to sit here and go through the entire thing. Just know that it is very impressive and everything gets used and is appreciated. I only take the items that we need because I don't want to waste the valuable van space. So if they don't need it, I don't take it. We begin every morning at 7:30 with a meeting to orient the volunteers to the purpose of Back Bay mission. And anytime the employees at the mission grow emotional as they talk about their part of the puzzle and how they fit into Back Bay mission. The photo on the left, this is after Trish and I organized it, but that is a teeny tiny room, like maybe 6 by 10, and that's what the clothes closet was. That was it. That's all the space they had. But you might remember last year, they agreed to convert this other room into the clothing closet. And this room is probably a 20 by 30 room, so it's much bigger. And last year I kind of considered it our sloppy copy, right? Like we just hurried up and did it. But this year we went back and tweaked it, and to make it easier for the clothing closet coordinator to find what she needs. Trish used to work in retail, so she was very passionate about everything was folded properly and categorized properly, and everything is done by size. This is a men's 30-30 jeans. This is a men, whatever. It's all extremely organized. And then, as you can see, I'm even down in the trenches there getting it more organized. There were things buried under the back. And I got down and got those out, and okay, get past that now. Dan wrote, here's a photo of me doing my thing. And we did get a lot of compliments from the staff and the clientele that they felt like they were going to a real store. And they liked that, because before out of the closet, they worked like this, and they got, picked out and then were handed. But now they get to kind of come in and pick, and they felt that made them feel important. My friend from Batesville that works for M&M Mars sent his love to Biloxi once again. As always, I put it on a tray and I let them choose what they take. This is a treat for them, not so much for just the candy, but for the fact that they get a rare choice. Usually things are just handed to them and they don't have a choice of what they eat. And they are always so thankful for it. I say that it's from, I say it's Hoosier Love. We're bringing it from Indiana for them. On Mondays, the Loaves and Fishes is not open. So one of the Micah Center's employees' mothers buys, prepares, and serves all the food out of her own pocket. And one thing that always impresses me down there is their giving spirit. Even those who have very little give a lot to others. An example of the true neediness of the people that we serve down there, all we did was put out a bin of socks. That's all we took, or that's all that was in that bin. We announced, and they're allowed to come pick what they want. And it was instantly, you know, around this bin just of socks. These next photos are some of my favorite. They show some of the people wearing gear from our community and from the Midwest. And this was another thing that they got to pick, hats. I just had a lot of them, we got to put them out. So they like to do that. We had purchased some wire racks for the closet and asked the team of college volunteers to put them together. Because Trish and I were just tired by that point of the day. So the boys were pitted against the girls, and we can see, of course, who won. The boys are struggling in the back. They only have 2 shelves on, and the girls are done. So go girls. You might recognize these photos from my 2022 trip, which was supposed to be the future site of Loaves and Fishes. But when I got there in 2023, things had changed, just like always. This area was deemed unusable because it was in a floodplain. When we returned in 2024, imagine that, it was okay to use. So in 2024, it was getting redone to be used, and the Catholic Diocese is going to run a little center out of there, and they were the ones paying for it all. So to me, it's kind of like a sweet and sour. You know, it was uninhabitable, we couldn't use it, but then we didn't have anywhere else to put these homeless people, so we're going to put them in this floodplain, and voila, it's magic, and it's okay to put people there. But it also does give them a sense of their own community. They're allowed to stay there, they don't get chased out of there, and they're going to hopefully do more services out of there, and therefore they're like out of sight, out of mind. So I can't really decide if I'm for it or against it, but anyway. The inside of the building is cold. It's an old gymnasium. I didn't see the movie Hoosiers, but it kind of reminds me of maybe that's what it was like. Just a concrete building, cold, an aluminum roof. The electric was dated. This one woman, I was really fearful for her health because it was so cold. And I plugged in a portable heater and a pool of fumes. And she was really, really just struggling to stay warm. But so the Catholic Diocese is paying for all that to be, for all the electric to be updated. And this is the back of the gym. So on one side is like one locker room, which is supposed to be the kitchen for Loaves and Fishes. And on the other side is supposed to be showers. We'll see when I go in 2025 what it is, never really know. But this would be possibly an old locker room that would be turned into a future kitchen. This picture proves how cold it really was because I have tights on. And I'm never cold, and I only wear tights when it's really cold. So these poor people were eating in this building, with all their coats and stuff on. It was really cold. My hands were cold as I was serving. There was also no steam table. So the food that was warm at one point, by the time it comes and gets served over an hour and a half time for breakfast and lunch, is cold almost immediately because there was no steam table. But thanks to a generous donation from Jane and Jim Link of our congregation and another anonymous donor of our congregation, we were able to purchase one for them so the needy would not have to eat cold food. And here they are bundled up eating breakfast. And you can see all the construction stuff back in the back. A work in progress. One thing that our church did donate, they had a desperate need for breakfast meat. So that was one of the things that our money went to, was to, we were able to stock them up for 8 breakfasts with different kinds of sausages and bacon. So imagine going to your freezer every day not knowing exactly what you're going to prepare. And this is what Loaves and Fishes does every day. They walk in there, they look at their freezer like, what are we going to fix? And their choices are whatever someone donated, that's what they have to come up with. And they are very, very creative with that. I'm always impressed with what they come up with to serve a warm and healthy meal. So this is an example of the camp. Like I said, the Catholic Diocese lets the people stay there as long as they keep it clean and safe and don't cause any problems. And the homeless people are pretty happy there. And this is my friend Trish again, who has also a real passion for food. She spent a lot of time organizing this 20 by 30 pantry so that the food was readily accessible, identified, and fresh. And also at the Mission House were a group of people from New Hampshire, and this was 2 of the women that helped us as well. As always, it's good to see old friends that are there, and there also are some success stories. In this next picture, and the bottom one is Nishi. And I have seen him every year since I've been going 7 years. And he always has a great spirit and a great smile on his face. And actually, this is the first time that I've gone there and he's had an apartment. But he still comes and volunteers, and it's great because he walks in the room and he just lights it up. And the lady with the baby is, her name's Elise. She was an executive director at one time of Loaves and Fishes, but she left so she could be a full-time mom. So now she and her son come on Tuesdays and volunteers, and he's definitely the star of the show. And Mike is standing in the freezer. I mean, you can see that's their freezer. So they have to look at a box, see what it is, and go from there. So where did your money go? Here's your list of where money went. I divided $2,100, which was awesome. That was the most I've ever taken, so thank you so much for that. Roughly 3 ways. Loaves and Fishes gets a third of it, Back Bay Mission Construction Park gets a third of it, and the Micah Center gets a third of it. And I ask each of those people who I work with every day, you have $700 to spend this time. What do you want? What do you need to make your day go better? I said, my church is a working church. The people work hard for their money, and they want the money to go to what you need to make your day better. And so they tell me, and I go and buy it for them. And it's never anything really that exciting. To finish, I like to illustrate how bad the plight is for some of these people. This man, whose name was Sam, said he was waiting for a ride from someone to a place where he could set up his tent for a night. I saw him first maybe around 4 o'clock, and by 8 o'clock, he had just started walking away with his tent in his hand, which means that his ride never came. I had no idea where he was going to put his tent for the night, because a lot of times, if they set their tent up in a certain place, they might get arrested for trespassing. So that's why he was so excited that this lady said you could put it in my backyard tonight. As far as I know, she never showed up. So it's a big problem, but Back Bay Mission, now they're in their 101st year, and they do an incredible job, and I love it. And I'm going back January 4th through 11th of 2025. If anyone would like to join me, you're more than welcome to. I think Dan is going with me this year. And if we have to take more cars, that's good, because we can just take more stuff. So I thank you for listening, and thank you as always for your very generous donations. We couldn't do it without you. And please don't forget to use your benevolence envelope. If you want your donation today to go to Back Bay, it needs to go in one of these white envelopes. And so I also want to thank my husband Dan for helping me with this, because I'm not very techy, and he helps me put my slideshow together every year. So, does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want information on going next year? Okay. Well then, there's many ways that you can give. Thank you.